Shall we talk about...
Sam, don't throw up on my bed.
I won't throw up.
It's gonna get... Oh my god!
Blimey, it's all good.
Mike!
Fuck off, Mike. Don't you dare do that.
Everyone's burping.
Fake disgusting shit.
Do you know, I couldn't fake burp until I came to uni, and I had that one night where I got so drunk, and I just suddenly was burping uncontrollably.
You did that fake burp whilst on the phone to me the entire way up the hill.
Yeah.
It was a 30-minute phone call. Literally, you just burping in my ear.
Hello, and welcome to the Musically Challenged podcast.
Hello.
And so it's...
What was that?
I had to say hello, didn't I?
Yeah,
yeah,
you did, but you didn't have to do that, did you?
That was the most anticlimactic, lean into the mic I've ever seen. Whenever people lean into the mic, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, something's funny is about to happen, and she's like, hello.
I did a funny.
I mean,
you did an anti-funny. It was so bad.
That's the kind of. That's what
I was going for.
That's the levels of irony.
Comedy you expect from computer scientists, though.
Exactly.
What, a lack of comedy?
Complete lack of comedy and a lack of social awareness. It's
Pretty
just
much.
Yeah. It's that. Okay.
Society scares me.
I don't know anyone with a lack of social awareness at all.
No.
Nope.
Especially not Julian.
No.
He doesn't know what a society is.
Couldn't agree more, to be fair.
He doesn't know why Death Grips isn't a good band to put on at Breeze.
Amongst so many other things.
Turn it off! No one wants to fucking AMC ride! I mean, I do.
To be fair, you were singing along with it.
Yeah.
It's funny, but
And Jay wanted it as well.
You can slip a track in every now and then.
No, you can't.
I did. That's exactly what I did.
You cannot slip MC riding anywhere.
It depends on the context.
It's like people, what the fuck?
In our house, when we all meme-worthy kids,
I mean, that's
you can slip one in. But at an actual party, if you do it, everyone just looks at you and
instantly
leaves.
is like.
I haven't asked my brother how it went putting loads of Death Grips on his party playlist, actually.
What did he say? Oh, you haven't said that?
No, I haven't asked him, but I mean, there was Death Grips on it, there was Young Lean on it, which is fair enough.
That's fair.
There was...
I'd stay for that party.
Yeah, I would.
Be pretty
There was a bunch of meme tier music on it. Yeah, anyway, what's been going on recently with you guys?
Julian, what have you been listening to this week?
Yes,
oh tell
us, Julian, please
tell me.
Right, so
tell us.
I'm very interested.
I've been listening.
Julian, tell us.
Julian, please.
Go right ahead, tell us, Julian.
I will do my.
I'm gonna stop doing that because it's hurting my throat.
I'm not surprised. So, I stumbled upon an album by Flying Lotus, one of my favourite producers of electronic beats. And his album, Los Angeles, which I played a little bit of to you guys just now.
Yep.
Straight fire.
You fucked with it.
It's really good.
I would.
Really bassy, kind of glitchy.
There's something really addictive about it.
I would definitely.
It's so catchy. It shouldn't be.
And it's really natural as well, even though it's so glitchy.
I would partake in sexual
Makes-
intercourse with it present.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It makes me want to dance funny. Do a Tom dance.
Do a Tom dance, yeah.
Flap my arms and jump
Like
around
you don't
stuff.
already.
Exactly. Well, I'm always Tom dancing inside.
Yeah.
Deep down.
Deep down. My heart Tom dances. That's what it is.
Your heart is actually shaped like Tom York.
You could say it's a moon shape.
A moon shaped.
That's stupid.
And it does, yeah. It's like doing the 15-step dance from the Grammys.
Oh, the Grammys.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the Grammys? They were
What
last
did I
night.
think of Grammys? Fuck off, 21 Pilots. Stop trying to be edgy. Oh, wow.
Leave them to be edgy.
Accept an award in your pants. Oh,
We need those kind of bands to
That's
just
what
poke
it's
fun
hot.
at.
Fuck off.
It's true. If they didn't exist, then
We just move on to Green Day or
There'd be
Fall Out
nothing
Boy
to
or
hate. Yeah.
Paramore or Blink-182.
If they didn't
You need something to make
exist,
your blood
then I
boil.
wouldn't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Because me retardedly singing in the shower is better music than them.
I can't compare.
It still was.
Yeah.
I'd listen to that rendition of Oh Shit.
I'd nominate that for a
over-
Grammy, to be honest.
Oh.
I'd have a whole gram-y of that.
Oh. on fire today.
Unfortunately,
the puns are flowing, boys.
it didn't
puns are flowing.
quite turn into the drammies, did it though?
Oh no,
Big baby.
Sad boys.
I
We were rooting for him,
Don't
but
do this.
he's gonna be a happy lad anyway.
Dram's such
Yeah,
a happy man.
But I wanted
want
to
him-
see what the
I want him
happy-
to be even happier.
Yeah, I wanted to see what the happy singularity looked like.
Exactly.
When you approach infinite happy.
when his like smile will like go round his face and meet at the top. It'll be
Jesus,
like he'll just be
that's
so
scary.
happy. His face will just be a smile.
Literally.
Oh, he's fantastic.
it will, because there are teeth all the way up there, but no one's ever seen them yet.
Exactly.
That makes me scared.
Christ, that's a really grim image. To be
No,
fair.
it's not. It'll be well good.
But it's Dram.
And he'll
Yeah.
have like 7 dogs with him as well.
There'll be a whole dog show going up to the stage.
Exactly.
He should present dog shows. That
He
would be
literally
great.
should.
Oh my God.
I'm sure he'd
so
love
happy.
it.
Dram does crufts.
He'd be like, oh, look at that dog. He'd just be like, looking at
with
everyone.
He's suddenly turns into Bitcoin.
I feel like if you have this dog, you're gonna do a heinous crime. If you haven't seen the Pitchfork over under with Dram, watch that shit. It's very
Yeah,
fun.
it's good.
He's such a beautiful human.
He's a good lad.
Michael, what have
I thought you said you were going to stop that shit, Sam.
Sam, I have been listening to music.
Oh my god, that actually sounded quite convincing.
I don't know how I did
That was
that.
like the most convincing Stephen Hawking impression I've ever heard.
I was just doing a voice, not necessarily Stephen Hawking. Anyway, so things I've been listening to. Nick put something on actually that I found kind of interesting.
Oh,
Nick.
So Nick Murphy, we live
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
He put on. I can't remember what country they're from, but they're from a Scandinavian-ish area. Maybe Denmark, Sweden, something like that. They're called Jaga Jazzist, as in like Jaga and then just jazzist. And they do quite interesting music. They're very like they're basically experimental. They don't do things that are super out there. Like you can always get into it, and their albums tend to be really varied.
right.
So like they've
And
got.
they have 7 band members.
I think they have 9, or it might be 7. I can't remember.
It
It's
might be
somewhere
9.
between 7 and 9.
It's a large amount. It's more than you would expect.
It's definitely
Yeah.
not 8. It's definitely between 7 and 9, but not
7,
8.
8, 9.
So it's
Right.
7 or 9.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I get that.
But because they've got so many members, I feel like what they bring is like a really good variety of different almost musical styles and genres. Like one track you'll be listening to will be a tiny bit post-rocky with like it'll be short, but it'll be like
Just
you
like the
know,
975.
exactly. Indeed.
Kill me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of other genres and now you've thrown me off.
Just like
The
slapped you
1,975.
around the face with the 1,975.
Yeah, so it's about how many
Like-
members
like-
this band has. But yeah.
We're like 10 minutes in and we've talked about both 21 Pilots and the 90s.
We're not 10 minutes.
Should we go for a full
Thank
full
God.
beat?
That's even more density of shite bands.
Approaching the shite singularity.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
second singularity.
Singularity.
Approaching the
shitgularity.
edgy Teton girl music singularity.
Indeed.
Can we move on?
Anyway,
Sam.
Anyway, so yeah, so they have
Ooh,
many,
I have
many
to
genres.
meme, Julian. That's
They'll
how
be
I
doing
survive.
Post-rock 1 minute, they'll be doing some experimental, like,
There are no other genres, are there, Mike?
I can't
You
think,
can't think of
no,
any.
I'm trying to remember the ones that they actually did play, but I remember
But
saying
it doesn't matter because what genres they have, they bend them.
Anyway,
Oh, they bend them, do
Very
they?
genre
They don't
Genre bending.
I wouldn't say they're genre bending, it's just like one track after another, they're really varied. It was really fun.
Not
I
good
enjoyed
enough for
it.
you.
I
They
think
don't
to
bend genres.
No, that's
It's all
not.
right.
I'm fine with them not bending genres, and varied genres is kind of like
It keeps the album really
it's a step
interesting.
towards it, and it would keep the album interesting. It's just that the worry is that if you try and touch so many bases, you can only do so well.
It doesn't
on
feel
each
like
of
they're
them.
trying to do it necessarily. It's more just the album keeps itself interesting by
Yeah.
having like different tendencies on different
Yeah, sure.
tracks.
But I think the worry is being so varied. It may result in you doing lots and lots of things kind of okay good,
Yeah.
as opposed to doing one very focused thing extremely
But
well.
I'd say that's a little bit of a factor in the
Plus,
album. It's
because-
not a great album, but it's good. It's really good.
Plus, because they've got 9 band members, you know, odds are they can probably touch quite a few bases.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Because, you know, like bass
yeah,
players.
yes, I got that. Yeah.
I did another funny.
You did.
I'm doing well.
Good time. Anyway, quickly. Also, I've been listening to a lot of Hail to the Thief this week. Just happened to have done that, and
Yep.
the B-sides a little bit. I've been getting into them randomly.
The Economy.
They're also quite quality.
Stupid.
The Economy is stupid. That's exactly why I listen to it. And the final thing, I went on a massive, like absolutely huge nostalgia trip for the second artist we're going to be talking about this episode.
Sam.
Kembro.
Kembros, yeah.
Kembros,
I went on
yeah.
a massive Chemical Brothers nostalgia trip through all eras, just watching all their great music videos that they've produced and having like a big trip for like the early 2000s period of time and stuff like that. It was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's me. That was me,
Ooh,
Stephen Hawking.
does that mean that it is time for me to talk
Yes!
about what songs I've been listening to?
I nominate
Oh,
you,
fuck, I
Sam.
can't breathe in that.
You need to breathe every now and then.
Right, yeah, mostly just, again, I was listening to some Chemical Brothers, but
Yes.
the album I've been listening to most this week is Neon Bible by
Arcade Fire.
Lovely album.
They've announced some tour dates, by the way.
Yes,
Oh,
I
they have?
saw. We're hoping that they'll announce more, which aren't in Manchester.
Well, the Manchester one is the day after the Radiohead show in
Yes,
Manchester.
yes.
It's true.
So,
it'd be really good
we just
to...
stay
It'd be really
Both
great
of
for you to hit both of those, wouldn't it?
That'd be good.
That'd be really good. I'd really enjoy that. I'm
Yeah.
glad all three of us can go. Oh
Yeah.
no! Oh, sorry, Julian.
Oh,
Oops.
fuck.
Oh, we've said something terrible, haven't
What a mistake!
What a tragedy.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So
we?
Neon Bible.
We're going to Radiohead and Arcade Fire, and you're not invited, Julie.
Oh, you're going to Arcade Fire?
Probably.
We'll see.
Probably.
We'll try and get tickets.
Won't tell you when we're buying the tickets.
That's
It'll
fine.
Be funny.
I don't care. It's fine.
We should just buy tickets just in case, and then we'll go for a different tour day, and then you'll have to go with.
I don't care about going to
right.
gigs by myself.
Fair.
Like, majority of gigs I've gone to, like, before I came to uni, I went by myself.
Crawling in my skin.
Was it those? Did you guys?
These wounds they will not heal.
Was
I'm
it
not angry.
80 gigs.
I know.
No.
I just thought
No,
I'd
great fun.
throw in a bit of that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll.
Cheers.
Wake me up. Wake me up inside. Right.
Cheers,
All the
big
memes
kid.
are out of the way.
I'm not
Memes.
sure they
I
are.
mean, no, they aren't.
They're going to
but
come back.
We
Yeah.
promised memes. That's all we're saying.
Personally, I promise lots of memes. Mostly because that's all I'm good at.
Not just on the podcast in life.
Yeah.
Just memes.
That's all I live for.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Shall we talk about... Ugh.
Sam, don't throw up on my bed.
I won't throw up.
It's going to get... Oh, my God.
Blimey, it's all good.
Mike.
Fuck off, Mike. Don't you dare do that.
Everyone's burping.
Fake,
I
That's
can't
fake
awful.
control
burp,
it.
disgusting shit.
Do you
You're the
know, I
most-
couldn't fake burp until I came to uni, and
Yes.
I had that one night where I got so drunk, and I just suddenly was burping uncontrollably.
You did that fake burp whilst on the phone to me the entire way up the hill. It was a
I walked all the way
30-minute
back.
phone call. Literally, you just burping in my ear. One
I
bit
was
you
really
said,
drunk,
like,
and I
yes.
acquired a new skill.
Yes.
I was very proud.
Yeah, can't say I was, but you know, it's all good because once you were
good,
back on campus, Will went to save you.
Yeah, I know.
Once you were safe, Will went to save you.
I feel bad, but it was kind of funny. Anyway.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Memes.
Memes.
Yeah.
So
That
memes.
classic meme album,
memes,
right?
Memes is a good band.
So Memes is a really good album from the 90s.
Yeah,
It contains memes in it.
it is.
It was actually
1998.
made. No, it was actually made in the year 1975, I believe.
The
Oh, the
1900.
1975.
Yeah.
Man, Jeff Mang was really ahead of his time there.
Right, should we stop being
Anyway.
disgusting humans and just be like kind of intolerable humans?
Let's do that instead.
Alright.
I
Right.
concur.
So, Spiderland
Ooh.
by Slint.
I'm
Yes.
scared of spiders.
One of my favourite albums of all time.
Fair.
I can see why.
Released in 1991. Slint were kind of a sort of like a punk backgrounded just
I've heard they were
rock band.
very, very, very garage.
They were absolutely. I mean,
you know,
you
that
can
period of the
tell.
90s.
you can
where-
tell from the production on the album. You can tell
Yeah.
from the fact they were our age when they made this album when
Which
they
is
recorded
insane.
it, which is insane considering how good it is.
Yeah.
And like they only like jammed when they all came back from university and like went into one of their like basements
Yeah.
in their houses back home and just like jammed out for hours.
And they managed to come up with this.
Cheers, Wikipedia.
Which is insane. Yeah.
Shouldn't trust Wikipedia, Sam.
Source, mate.
You yourself said it a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've decided
Contradictory.
Wikipedia is actually pretty dank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for certain things, I guess.
I can agree with that.
So this album, Spiderland, it's it formed pretty much along with a couple of other albums, it formed the blueprint for the genre that we know and love today as post rock.
Post avant-garde jazzcore.
That's the one.
It's not a bad genre. I'll give it that.
Is that Troutmark's Replica?
Troutmark's Replica is everything and nothing to me. Like,
Blimey.
I can barely.
That is like nearly a Jaden Smith quote right there.
Nearly.
That's like a Bond movie title.
Not enough capital letters.
Everything and nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it means nothing to me. But, like, the amount of musical ground it covers is
it
ridiculous.
means nothing to you, but then again,
I tried to revise
there's a dude with a fish head on the cover.
A trout mask, if you will.
It's literally
a replica of a trout.
That album is literally genius because you can't listen to it.
So
you can't take it in.
You can't.
It's like just
Anyway.
yeah.
We'll do trout mask now.
Oh please no!
We have to listen to the whole album.
That's going to be another walkout.
Yeah.
2 songs in.
I'll walk out as well. Just be Julian.
Just be me.
It covers so many different bases. It's a crazy man. It's so good.
He's half fish, half man.
Yes.
It's only.
I didn't enjoy it, and therefore I enjoyed it.
I can see the logic. There.
There's not much.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, where were we? Spiderland.
That is
You're
the
giving
logic.
them the overview.
So the deal with Spiderland is that it, like we said, the band were very kind of had a very kind of garage bandy setup where they were just jamming out with what they had, and they were our age when they made the album, so they were relatively kind of naive and young in terms of like the music world.
Yeah.
And they took a lot of influence from hardcore punk bands of like the kind of mid to late 80s. There's one band in particular called Big Black,
Spooky Black,
who had I think their frontman is a guy called Steve Albini, who I don't think did the recording and production sessions for these guys, but he definitely had some sort of close relation with the album, and he's talked about how influential it's been.
What was his headwear of preference?
His headwear of preference.
Steve Albini.
Was it Fez? Oh, I get the joke.
Yes.
Yeah,
See, so that's a whole nother funny, mate.
I made a funny.
I think Sam did the funny.
I did a little giggle.
Yeah.
I had a giggle. That's all that matters.
So he's spoken in length about how the album is basically, or the band in general, he basically said that you guys won't get big, but you'll be really, really influential down the line. And it goes to show now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that's pretty much how it played out, right?
Yeah.
They didn't get much like recognition
No,
or attention.
it's very much
time
retrospective recognition
This
nowadays.
is how I feel our podcast is also going to be.
Yeah,
really? You think in 5 to 10 years' time?
We're going to be geniuses.
We'll be the most influential.
No, it'll be
podcast.
after we die. We'll be heralded
After we
as
die.
geniuses.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can only listen to it on downloadings of our podcast because YouTube has been dead and gone for years. It'd be so
The great fall of YouTube, the Great War. Yeah, it'll be
God, that's
post,
really, really
post
hard.
YouTube
Post
war.
YouTube war.
Post YouTube jazzcore.
It's probably out there somewhere.
That sums it up.
I'm very delirious right now.
So
It's been a long day.
So how does the album sound to you, Mike?
So
What's the thing that sticks out to you?
well, the thing that stuck out to me first, like the album is quite sinister and dark, right?
Yeah.
So, and the thing that made me fall in love with the sinister and dark, because it's very hard to get into the mood of it, because it is so like that sinister, basically. The thing that made me fall in love with it was basically how off kilter it was.
Yeah, very
So
much so.
a lot of the tendencies on most of the track is to have something laid down that will be like not quite right
Yeah.
at the sort of core level, and then they'll build on top of that.
Right.
I just really enjoyed how it progressed basically from that. So like the first few tracks in particular, basically all the tracks to be honest were off kilter, but like towards the end it did develop what is effectively the sort of template for post rock, but
Yeah,
short.
definitely.
And I really enjoy the way it goes from this off kilter
To being a bit
beginning
more
to
structured.
the structured but stretched out and not, anything that had been particularly done before.
In a way,
I say that
yeah.
not knowing very well, but like, I can see how it was so influential and formative and stuff.
Sure.
And I really enjoy the fact that the album's not entirely that. It gets to it from this off kilter beginning, and like it's so varied and enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even though it's so dark.
It's like it's a weird album because it has a lot of quite a lot of emotional range. How it sort of starts off. You got the first 4 tracks where you've got this sort of, instead of singing, you've got this sort of
Spoken word,
sort of,
Yeah.
and it almost like with the like weird sort of spooky off-kilter music sort of jams going on with it. It almost feels like a supervillain giving like a monologue in a film. It's so like
a little bit, yeah.
It just sounds evil.
It just
like-
sounds so off that it puts you on edge.
Yeah, it
sort of
does.
thing.
It's sort of, it's just, and what helps, I was talking to Julian about this, was the way the dynamics are used, where it's sort of, it's very quiet and then it will just get louder and then back off. And
Crescendos and
diminuendos,
diminuendos.
and it's great, and it just like, it's another factor which you like can't, you almost like can't judge.
I think it's the album's defining feature. Like,
I agree.
there's no other, very, very few, I'll say, to cover my ground, other albums I've heard which use like a range of dynamics to such good effect.
It was what really like dragged me in, was sort of the way like quite a few songs sort of seemed, especially, what's the one where he's actually singing? I can't remember the name.
So Washer is the first one where
Washer,
he properly sings
yes.
on it.
Yeah, that may be my
only
favourite.
one where
As
he
a heads
properly sings on it.
There's a little bit of singing on
The last track,
song, Good
yeah.
Morning Captain.
But
But
it-
Washer's the most
it's
prominent.
Sort of, where you've got like, he's singing so softly throughout the entirety of the song, and then near the end it just sort of breaks out and he's almost screaming.
You know, what Washer is is the song which, like Mike was alluded to, kind of became the basis for the post-rock song structure.
Wash is my favourite on the album.
It's your favourite
for that
for
think
that
it
reason.
is.
Fair
Okay.
It like, I do love the rest of them, and you can like. I was about to comment on the track before it, Don
Man.
Oh, that one's evil.
That
That
is
was
my
really
favorite.
evil.
That one's my favorite.
And I can see why. And this is one of the ones that's got the prominent like spoken.
Yeah.
Oh, very much
Spoken
so.
word.
Now,
It's very
Donna Man
much-
has got a really, really interesting background to it. Like, well, maybe not so much background, but the storyline is. I'm not gonna say like it is. I'm gonna say it hits fairly close to home
Okay.
to me. I don't want to say too much because it is basically a song about someone who is incredibly socially anxious,
Fair enough.
and you hear some of the lyrics.
I'm sure that hits so close to home with all of us.
I was gonna say
The first couple of lines. The first couple of lines. Don stepped outside. It felt good to be alone. And the scenario is basically a guy called Don who's at a party,
Yeah.
and he wants to step away from it all and be a little bit introspective for a bit. And he then kind of monologues to himself about how, he whispers like really intimately into the microphone about, the party setting. I think one of the lines is the lights, their backs, their conversations, the couples romancing so natural. His friends stare with eyes like the heads of nails. Like, he's incredibly self-conscious about people judging him.
Yeah.
And by the end of the song, you get him basically just driving home, noping out of there and realising that this is like not him. He's trying to pretend something to be something he's not. And he gets home, and then the last line of the song is, he looked in the mirror, he saw his friend.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That hit me quite hard.
I can see why.
The gut punch moment.
The gut punch
Yeah,
moment,
gut
and
punch moment.
like it's not just the story of the song, but the whole song is incredibly like instrumentally sparse. Like, you have basically two very kind of clean acoustic guitars playing like at a like funeral dirge pace, just some very steady, brooding, like evil and sinister, as you say.
And it
Strums,
works
it's-
so well with his delivery.
It does.
Because like the way he's speaking is just like angry.
It is
it's
almost spiteful.
I think it might be my favourite on the album as well, just because it
I can
like
see that.
as soon it just stood out to me as like this is almost like hard to listen to.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
it's so powerful, and like, yeah, the one like delivery I can remember is like so natural, where he's just like so natural, and it's like it's just like angry, and I can it's good. It's
and
great.
speaking of blueprints again, I can, with the vocal delivery we were discussing, I can see how Godspeed are in a similar vein with what they do with their samples.
Oh yeah, not
sometimes.
necessarily sing, but yeah,
Not their sing, but
Yeah.
The samples that they use, the way that they integrate them with the sounds in the background is kind of similar to this.
Well, I mean, the start of this album reminds me a lot of F sharp, A sharp, Infinity.
A little bit.
I
see what you mean.
Because like the first song is him sort of telling a story, and it
Breadcrumb Trail, yeah.
Yeah, and I really like that song. I really like the riff in that song. Like that, I think that's what I love. That's what I love most about this album. Is it's like it's evil and spooky and off kilter, and it puts you on edge, and it's like it's almost tiring to listen to. But then, like later on, you'll just have a riff stuck in your head. It's a lot like Viet Cong.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give you
just
that.
like you
Fair
just
enough.
get riffs stuck in your head.
Yeah. It just goes straight into your head.
It's so like jammy, but it's such a like different type of jammy. You can imagine them just like sitting in the like basement where they're recording, or the garage where they're recording, just sort of all tired out and depressed and anxious about like university and all that, and just sort of
life
and life, and just
so,
sort of playing
that's
away.
the age that they're at. Like us, we've just recently been thrown out into the world.
Yeah.
And I'm quite enjoying
deal with it. Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
I like being catapulted head first into the world.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
There's 1 hour of each week which sort of stands out as fucking horrific.
Why did I make such a poor decision?
I wonder too.
But other than that, pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I do tend to agree.
Just kidding.
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
You know the riff that Sam was talking about
On Breadcrumb Trail, yeah.
on Breadcrumb Trail. Is it the same at the end? Does it make
It
a
does
reprise?
come back, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought as much. I didn't know if it was exactly the same.
Yeah,
But it's really, really satisfying to hear it.
it is.
And like everything about this album and how it delivers on the riffs and things that you'd usually hear in rock that would be the sweet bit that gets you in.
Yeah.
The way this album like really delivers them at such a controlled pace and such a sinister way, and like at its own time and only very few and far between, I think is like really quite genius.
No, it is. Well, you talk about the kind of typical rock tropes that drag people in or whatever.
Yeah.
The first 2 tracks of the album, I briefly mentioned like how they were influenced by a lot of hardcore punk bands.
Yeah, they are quite punky.
The first couple of songs, Breadcrumb Trail and Nosferatu Man, which also has a really, really good riff. I think.
Really like Nosferatu riff.
What I mentioned about the hardcore punk stuff is that hardcore punk was all about playing fast and hard and energetic, right?
Yeah.
But what they've done with this album is they've taken those, because partway through Breadcrumb Trail, you all of a sudden, instead of the clean electric guitars to start, you get distortion all of a sudden, and you get him kind of screaming in a sort of punk vocal style, and you get a similar thing on Nosferatu Man as well. And the way they've melded that together with a track like, not necessarily meld it together, but they follow that then with something like Donna Man, which is the complete opposite of what punk music's aesthetic is. It's very
insane.
Yeah. It works.
I know,
extremely well.
And like you said, like just the fact that it's can be so minimalist in some places, and have all of these things working for it is insane.
Yeah,
it's really impressive.
So Breadcrumb Trail, interestingly enough, is actually it's basically a love song. Okay. It's all about how
I can see that.
I'm not gonna say the singer anymore. Brian McMahon's the singer. He plays a character on each of these tracks. Like, we were talking about Donna Man, how his delivery is incredibly poignant and effective, and he's playing, this socially anxious Don character. Yeah. There are some like common threads that run throughout each track emotionally, but I don't know if this is a concept album or anything, come to think of it. I don't think so,
no.
but
I think it's just, separate.
Just some very separate, effective kind of anecdotes he's telling.
Yeah.
So Breadcrumb Trail's about a character going to like a carnival, stumbling upon a fortune teller's tent and like falling in love with her, and then you get
I remember.
It kicks off the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
The rest of the album, and then Nosferatu Man it doesn't have a story as much. It's got a lot of lyrics that are inspired by
I was going to say
Nosferatu.
there's the is it a silent film or is
Yeah, it was an old German adaptation of Dracula.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of vampire-related imagery in it.
Yeah.
So I live in a castle. I'm a prince. On days I try to please my queen.
That's the one thing that's the lyrics on that kind of made me giggle just because of the whole like because of Suicide Squad with like
Oh yeah.
she loved him, she was his queen, or like no, she was crazier than him, she
Yeah.
was his queen. God help anyone who disrespect the queen. Oh, what a shite film. Well done, DC. On
That's
making-
just ammo for all of the most edgy teenage girls ever.
exactly. For being
It's disgusting.
Hot topic of the film.
Yeah, literally.
Well done, DC, on establishing such great characters for your own cinematic universe.
They literally had it made for them. Like, all they had to do is just make actual characters. Anyway, that's a run for another day. But like,
Yeah.
uh,
The new film challenged podcast. will be coming.
I'd listen to that.
I'd be up for that.
Yeah,
Actually,
no one else
I
would listen
wouldn't.
to it.
Fuck off.
yeah. That'd be 2 hours in our.
Yeah,
That'd
fun.
be pretty hard.
Yeah,
Not
says
that
I'm doing
not
it.
that this specifically,
We
this hour
break
that
into your
made.
house and steal this.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful microphone, to be fair.
It is. I've put it on my bum.
Sam, stop with the meme.
with the mount or outside the mount?
With the mount.
Jesus Christ. You need
Yeah.
to get a picture of the mic and flash it up. I want to get a picture, after we're done, I'll get a picture of Sam smiling and the mic just in
No, you're not.
front.
No, fuck it. I'm in the perfect
We're doing it
position.
live.
I'm taking it now. Cower in shame, Sam.
Oh, Jesus.
Nice.
It's not a small mic. It's not a small mic at all.
It's not.
It's not. It's a
Bigger
hefty
than
boy.
me.
Hey.
So yeah, what were we saying?
I got totally derailed.
I can't
I'm off
fucking
track.
So
remember.
I want to go back to Washer quickly.
Yes.
Washer, up until this morning, I didn't realise just how depressive this song is, in particular how depressive the rest of the album is after it.
Yeah.
The lyrics are so just overtly suicidal.
Yeah.
Was this after his incident?
This was not after his incident, but the lyrics, I too am tired now, embracing thoughts of tonight's dreamless sleep.
Yeah.
And then there's a little triplet here, which is like the most telling thing. My head is empty, my toes are warm, I am safe from harm. What do you think he's talking about there? His head is empty, his toes are warm. So lots of blood is at his
Pulled
toes.
to his toes.
His head is empty.
Yeah, I get it.
He's hung himself.
Yeah.
That's
That's one of my favourite
gut
lyrics on the
punch.
album.
Yeah.
Another gut punch there.
gut punch.
Yeah.
That wasn't as hard as it could have been.
Self harm from
I
Julian.
know.
Talk to Frank.
Nicely done.
And then, like you said, you get the really explosive post-rock climax at the
Yeah.
end, which everyone will then go on to copy.
Yeah, it's like that song is just so good because it like takes you. It's completely different from any other song in the album.
Yeah.
Because like the others,
For the most part,
the
yeah.
others are quite evil and brooding and sinister.
Yeah.
And this one is like, it's still got the same like tone with the music, but it's more because of his like his sort of weak delivery, sort of
Yeah.
feeble singing of this. It makes it like so much more fragile and like
Oh, his voice is like
yeah.
very, very like broken, and he you can barely hear him like making like notes like with his voice, and it's almost spoken word in that way, but it's
But it's
extremely powerful again. So then towards the end of the album, you get For Dinner, which is
Yes.
basically just a 4-minute ambient interlude of guitars
Yeah.
and drums.
Bolognese.
Indeed.
Bolognese.
I had bolognese. I put some.
I had sweet chili and I put a bit of pineapple in. It's very nice. Makes the pineapple's very very nice when you cook it with the
It's got a
chicken
sweet
and the
chili
pepper,
marinade.
and then you have the sweet chili marinade, and it just seeps
Very
into the
nice.
He was
pineapple.
supposed
It's
to
very
get
nice.
sweet chili sauce, we accidentally bought marinade. But
What's he done?
Well, I bought sweet chili sauce before, but then I decided it was too expensive because I was pouring so much in. So marinade actually worked better. Little cooking tip for you out there. But anyway, you don't want to.
Cooking challenge podcast coming soon. That's 3 hours a week.
3 hours. Jesus, it's getting worse, getting out of hand. Anyway,
So For Dinner.
Yeah,
Why
Bolognese.
it's I'm not going to say it's got the
Absolute
Tree Fingers
sound.
effect because it's
Yeah, go on.
it's too close to the end of the album to feel like Tree Fingers for me. But it kind of feels like just like a coda or like an obituary for what happened in a washer in a way.
Yeah.
'Cause it's extremely quiet.
It's Tree Fingers effect to
But-
the extent that it gives you time to think about and
Process.
process
Contemplate.
the things that have happened previously.
Yeah.
You know, whether it has anything in common with Tree Fingers beyond that, it's probably no.
I mean, I like it.
Yeah,
That's
I like
what
it
it's got
too.
in common with Tree Fingers. And you hear like the snare hits are like the thing that.
It's boring, much like Tree Fingers. Nah. Jokes, like them both. They're pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good, pretty good.
And then
Give 'em
after that, you get Good Morning
hesitant
Captain.
forward.
Yes,
Yes, good.
it's a good track.
Good end.
Bloody good.
It's very
closer.
end.
Yeah, it is.
And it's again about kind of like a near-death experience that a captain of a ship has after his
Yes.
ship gets wrecked by a storm and all of his men get taken by it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some very, very like kind of like muted guitars that play, which sound really kind of icy and harrowing. And
Yeah.
again, this is like where the guitar and like the bass line as well is extremely effective, I think. And you hear him talking about how he's like hallucinating. He sees like the face of his son outside a window that he's trapped inside in the ship. And
Yeah.
it's all about him trying to get back to like a stable mental state.
Yeah.
And
Which, you know, goes in hand with the whole album's
Yeah.
themes, you can see.
absolutely, and it's spoken word for the majority of it.
Yeah.
He's playing another character, and his voice sounds very kind of scattered remnants of the ship could be seen in the distance or whatever. It's
Yeah.
very kind of frigid and shell shocked and
Yeah. I think shell
Traumatised.
shock's a good word.
yeah.
Because and the album it goes so well hand in hand with the album. Like
Yeah,
I said,
it
because
does.
You probably feel shell shocked listening to the album.
You do.
I felt
the
shell-shocked.
emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, but no, but the point is like they've done this album so poignantly because like things like post rock there wasn't exactly a known structure for
No,
it. It wasn't a thing that existed. There
This
was
is
no
why
blueprint.
it stands
And
out.
they give voice to their own feelings at this like hard time that they've gotten through, and like you know they've given voice to it in a way that's not been done before.
Yeah.
And it's you know that's why this album is one of the things that really stands out. But like only in retrospective, not at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
People hadn't realised.
So this is where the incident comes in, Sam.
Ah,
Because towards the end of the song, he does start singing, more like just like punk screaming the line, "I miss you!"
Yeah.
And he screams that quite a few times and like really shouts at the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
And allegedly, by the time that they'd finished recording that, because of all the different takes that they'd done, he was like drenched in sweat as to how intense the whole time had been. And once he was done, once Brian McMahon, he was done screaming the vocals and playing his guitar, he kind of threw his guitar off his back and just walked to the side, stood to the side, and then just vomited everywhere.
Jeez.
And very soon afterwards, he checked himself into a hospital. And at that point,
Yeah.
everyone else pretty much realised, okay, Slint is over.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it. So this album kind of serves as like a coda for their existence as a group,
Yeah.
which is, again, makes it feel so much more real
Yeah, it does.
as an album, as an emotional
I
experience.
think I read about another incident, which was I read that one of them was in a near fatal car accident during the recording process.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Yeah, well,
Do tell.
there you go.
There you
Why-
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's nothing more.
which is why this one has more of a dark tone,
Yeah.
more
definitely.
depressed tone.
It
is
would make
because
sense
that
with the content of this song as well.
with the like near fatal car accident that
Yeah.
that sort of put his life into perspective and made him a hell of a lot more depressed.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's why I think that's maybe where most of the sort of inspiration for Washer comes from.
Yep, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised at that.
And I can see the lyrical content on Good Morning Captain fits in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
being in a hole.
This album dark as fuck, boys.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it's a masterpiece as far as
It is
I'm
a
concerned.
masterpiece.
It's good.
It's
And luckily, it's dark
top
as
tier.
fuck, but it's not long enough that
No,
the
it's
spookiness gets too tiring. And
it's
you can't
very
listen to all of
concise.
it.
He is very concise.
It's 40 minutes long, and there's not a single moment where I think to myself they need to cut anything out, or there's not a single moment where I thought
It's- yeah.
I'm over this. I don't really care about this. Everything is it's top tier.
It is
Yes.
top tier, I agree.
It's so impressed by this thing.
Yep. And
Like I
as you
say.
said, you alluded to earlier, this was Slint's last album.
Yeah.
There's a second one, and then they disbanded.
They have reunited actually. They reunited
Oh, okay.
10 years ago and played
Right.
at the Pitchfork Music Festival.
Oh, of course they did.
That's pretty
This
cool.
album, but people didn't really enjoy it that much because it's like an outdoor festival, and when your music is as deathly quiet as a lot of this album,
I
it
can
doesn't
see,
really
yeah.
go
Fair
that
enough.
well.
Yeah.
I have seen a video of them playing Donna Man live, or maybe not them, but a couple of them. Basically, just them strumming their guitars and doing their vocal delivery,
Okay.
and the crowd were like whooping throughout it.
That doesn't seem appropriate.
Like, for
at all.
fuck's sake, people!
That doesn't really.
Knock 'em out.
Yeah.
Knock them out.
It's a bit odd.
Fuck
that.
off, dance!
But yeah, so quickly just to cover the album cover.
To cover the album cover.
Yes.
What is
Days
it,
in a
Mike?
lake.
So
They're actually in a quarry.
over
They're
it.
actually in
quarry,
an old
yeah.
abandoned quarry
Yeah.
with their heads poking out the
It
water.
very much feels like something that's, you know, you get those, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like if you get a snapshot of someone suddenly and then like I don't know, it's almost like one of those things you see on the news if someone like disappears. It's like it's got a weird vibe to it where it's like this was the band at the point and then they disbanded, no more, and it's like
I see what you mean, yeah.
the whole album, like
This is how they'll be remembered, always. This will be their image.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like the liner notes as well, they're so minimalistic.
Actually, you know
There's
what?
not much to talk to the album.
no, it's just basically saying Slint Spiderland recorded and then engineered by, band photo by.
Yeah.
The last couple of lines actually are a bit interesting to me because, like I said, when after Brian McMahon was done performing and everything and vomiting and checking himself into a hospital or whatever,
Yeah.
the last line says interested in female vocalists write to this address,
Yeah.
which makes me think that
Very weird.
they were prepared to kind of continue like
I think I
with
read
life
that somewhere.
after him.
Yeah, they were.
So they must have thought that he was like going over the edge mentally during recording.
Yeah, and
Then for whatever reason that never materialised and never
Yeah.
got that female vocalist or whatever. But
indeed, yeah.
that struck me a little bit. So
I mean, the whole album strikes me.
He's
It's
go listen to it, everyone.
strikes me right in the
Agreed.
gut.
Yes,
Gut punch.
You will not regret it.
no
And
regrets.
in the slightest. It's only 40 minutes long and right.
Indeed.
Shall we move on?
Shit, let's do it. Let's
Come on,
move
Mike.
Mike,
Soon.
introduce.
The second album we're going to talk about is exactly what we alluded to earlier, Chemical Brothers.
Chemical
And
Brothers.
we're doing their latest release, which is Born in the Echoes. It is a hell of an album because I keep coming back to it, and it's just one of those ones. Like I said earlier, I really, really love the sound of the Chemical Brothers. They've been a part of my childhood, basically, because
Same.
just exposure to so many of their different sounds of so many different albums. One that particularly stands out for me is the song Star Guitar, and also Come With Us as well. Because they were both on a rally game. I think it was World Rally Championship 2 Extreme. Which, when I had my PS2, it was like the only game I had for ages because it was the demo disc that came with the PS2.
I think I
And it
might
was
have
the
had that
soundtrack
game as well.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Chemical
I-
Brothers soundtracked it, and
Yeah.
my god, it was a good
They
soundtrack.
also provided quite a few of their songs for the Wipeout games on PS1,
I can imagine.
which
yeah.
along with the Prodigy. So that was like my
That's a hell of a soundtrack.
yeah. Oh, the soundtrack was so good. It was so like hype.
Yeah.
I was so happy that when I got the PS Vita one, they put Invaders Must Die on there.
Yeah.
It was just yeah.
Good tune.
Oh, but also just nice to see that they still, people who make Wipeout still put Prodigy on their soundtrack.
Stick that
But
back.
sadly, I don't know, they might have had a Chemical Brothers tune on there, not sure.
Yeah, no.
But yeah,
So-
like Music Response was Music Response for me is very nostalgic. Come With Us, Began in Africa,
Yeah.
all those ones. I just remember my dad sticking them on in the car.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, they very much had a sound of the early 2000s-ish, coming out in the 90s.
Basically, like, we want people to do drugs and listen to this music.
Yeah, it's sort of like
Let's
a
go.
EDM, big big
Big beat.
big beats,
You can
those
imagine,
sorts of things.
Like these being pumped out.
I mean,
at max
they're not
volume
called-
in a druggy warehouse.
You're not called the Chemical
They're not
Brothers
called
for
Chemical Brothers for
Exactly.
nothing. They're part of the like Manchester scene, I think, I believe, where like basically what they do is they'd be at uni and then like they study all day and then they basically go to an abandoned warehouse with like thousands of other people and just get drugged up for the whole night and then repeat. That's basically.
Did anyone say
Basically.
Motion Bristol?
Hey. Yeah. So that was the scene they came out of,
Yeah.
and it's like that was a dying scene almost, like towards the late, 2000s ish, mid 2000s ish, and the thing that Chemical Brothers managed to do, which is very, to their credit, is they've continued to keep themselves somehow like relevant and somehow popular, and I think it's exactly that. There's some level of their like EDM big beats music that is not just for druggies. It's also got like a bit of a mass appeal to it.
But they have also
They've made
adapted.
catchy songs.
They don't
Absolutely.
They don't just keep
all their songs are
making
catchy,
the like they keep that old sort of sound that they've always had. There's definitely
there definitely
you can
is.
hear something and you go, that's Chemical Brothers, but there's definitely like there's been a big change from something like Come With Us to something like Born in the Echoes. Like I almost feel like they've matured. Because it feels like in some of the tracks on like Come With Us and stuff like that, they're just fucking about and they're just like, what are the like craziest noises we can make?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I do agree.
Like especially on Come With Us, there's like a lot of like, or the song Come With Us.
Yes.
It's like there's a lot of like, and then you can just imagine them like finding that and just being like, oh, let's just throw that in for the whole song.
Well, again, that's part of the sound and the culture was like, it's very much a drugged up sort of thing.
Yeah, let's
like
just make things that sound cool when you're high as fuck.
Exactly. The album Surrender and Come With Us, they're very much just like trips, like just non-stop.
Absolutely.
Like big beat trips is what they are.
I think I'd have to call Under the Influence probably my favourite Chemical Brothers track still.
I can see that.
That's like the epitome of being drugged up and under the influence.
Exactly, Under the Influence.
That's why it's called that.
So they had those two albums, and they had a couple of albums before that that were very good as well. But they were trying to gain some traction basically. Their first two albums, there's Exit Planet Dust, where they're trying to get some traction in this scene, and then their second album, Dig Your Own Hole, they started to get that traction. They started to have a few singles that were very, very big at the time, I think, and they had Noel Gallagher, I believe, featured on one of them, Setting Sun, and that gave them a lot of sort of.
Was Noel Gallagher also on?
He did
on Surrender as well.
Yeah, so Noel Gallagher made his return to provide a lot of the vocals for their album following that as well. So they gained a lot of traction from that, especially in the Manchester scene and stuff.
Fair.
And then they had that whole scene, and then the problem was the scene was, it wasn't to last basically. It's people grow up and like the drugged up culture of just going to a warehouse and.
Yeah,
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Not sustainable when all these things is illegal.
So they had to transition out of that, and they did. They had a few albums where they there's one album I think, We Are the Night, that went a bit downhill, and then so this is the context for this album, Born in the Echoes, and the one previous to it as well, which is also very good, called Further. So this is them being mature. They've got their sound, but they're trying to carry this sound, which is not necessarily I don't know the right word, but
They're just trying to make it more cohesive.
yes, exactly.
They're not.
They're like building more. I mean, their previous albums were full albums.
Yeah.
They were full albums because it was about the experience, the whole end to end trip. But these albums are more structured like albums. They've got more of the album sort of tendencies with them, and this is the sort of revolution that they've come through, like they've revitalized themselves with, basically.
And that's what really surprised me when I listened to this album, was sort of like, I originally thought, oh yeah, like they're old news, like they had their prime, like here, and now they're just kind of, because Go went really big, and it's like, oh, just
very big.
You galvanise and stuff.
Shout to Q-Tip on that.
Oh
Q-Tip does a great job.
Always.
He does a great job with what he's got.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But I sort of
okay.
I'm
like, I'm not the biggest fan of the lyrics on the song, I have to say. but
Fair.
and the flows are a bit samey.
So,
But it's a good song.
But like
I still like it.
what I think is like I would agree with you. I was like I was just like, how are they gonna like go from Come With Us and Surrender and make something like grown up and actually like, I don't want to say actually music, because the like albums they had before are fucking amazing.
they're great.
But yeah,
so solid. They're
and
some of my favourites.
but like I'm just like amazed how much it holds up.
Yes,
with them have like. With the fact that they've been around for so long, they're still making good music, and that's what
and they've held themselves up.
me.
And part of it, like, I don't know, with my enjoyment of Chemical Brothers is they just seem to capture like a sound of the time.
Yeah,
and they've done a reasonable job on this one, I'd say, Born in the Echoes, of sort of updating their sound, like we said. I think so. Julian's got a few gripes with it. You got a few. Gripes.
I don't want
to.
I think you're right to call them gripes, but I'd like to mention that I'm not nearly as rooted in the rest of their discography as you two are.
Yeah,
so I'm not judging this really with too much context.
Yeah, okay.
I was just judging this on whether it was good electro dancey music, rather than whether it sounded like the Chemical Brothers were doing something new or not, because I really don't have too much background on that. And there are some good songs on there, and there's one great song on there.
Neither was I really. I was like, because obviously I know the Chemical Brothers, but I don't really know them well enough to say I'm like a Chemical Brothers fan.
Fair.
I am now, after listening to this. Bloody hell, it's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I have to say there are some good songs on it, and there's one great song on here.
ELM Ritual.
But EML Ritual.
I really like
EML Ritual is fucking trash, mate.
What are you chatting? I properly love EML Ritual.
That's fine. You're allowed to do that.
So we need to address the gripes. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have a counter to it, but it's not.
No, please. Like, I want to hear your counter.
You're going to be right. You're going to be correct in your own right. But I'm also.
We're going to be equally correct.
Exactly. So
it's just our opinions.
We need to get the gripes out.
It's fine. So maybe I was embellishing it a little when I said it was trash. It's not my favourite on the album.
Okay. It's become my favourite.
There's a little bit. I think it's about halfway through where they do a bunch of vocal layering with that like mantra. I don't know what to do. I'm going to lose my mind or whatever.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're trying to do something kind of like Animal Collective-y. With
Maybe.
like how they're kind of getting triggered on top of each other, and
I don't know.
I don't know if they're necessarily copying them. It felt like that to me.
But
I
know.
I just wasn't a fan of the way it was layered.
I
It just
didn't really
did my head in.
Animal Collective. I
don't
sort of thought that as sort of about losing your mind, and
Yeah.
it was just like going insane, and then like fucking beat hits. It's just
I
like,
agree.
ooh, banger.
The beats are like electric shock.
Oh,
like,
I
they just fill you with hype.
Oh, I was doing the washing up to it, and
Yeah.
like the washing up has never been this high. It was like,
I love Chemical Brothers for doing stuff like getting like I don't know, like you said, like doing laundry, going shopping, like doing anything.
You just like
being on the bus, going to uni. You just be like hyped up. Your blood
just
will
like
be pumping.
sitting there bored, like ready
Yeah.
for my algebra. Stick on some Chemical Brothers. Fuck yes, algebra.
If I wanted that kind of hype while doing algebra, I'd put Death Grips on though.
Yeah, but
That's more hype,
That's more
isn't
like
it?
shouty hype. Different kind of hype. This is like hype to go and do something, like do things.
Death Grips makes me do stuff.
Death Grips makes you destroy stuff.
Destroy the
type of
algebra
hype.
problem sheet.
Yeah,
Ooh.
true. Hey. So anyway,
But the beat's good. I'm not like the biggest fan of like the synth line. There's something about it which feels a little bit incomplete to me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I will give you there's definitely a few tracks where there's some weird mixes.
Yes.
There's things that seem like they weren't quite like polished off.
Yeah, there are definitely some songs on there that feel a little bit underwritten.
Which is noticeable because what part of the modern appeal they have is that they've polished things off very nicely. Like,
Yeah.
I will say their lyrics aren't particularly deep.
No,
You're not
But
going.
there's certain tracks like the last one, Wide Open, where the music, I think, really does a really good job for the basic lyrics.
yeah, I have to agree with that.
That's what I'd
It
say
like
is-
really makes you feel the lyrics, and this is part of their like EDM sort of approach, and also the part of the keeping it mass appeal.
Yeah, because you say that the second half of the album overall doesn't feel nearly as like danceable. I'd
Yes,
say it
it's
feels
different,
more kind of wide appeal and poppy.
It does,
And
yeah.
that last song, Wide Open, which has got Beck singing on it.
Yeah.
His vocals are good.
He's done a very good job there. That's maybe my favourite alongside Email Ritual and a couple others.
I think I recognised that song when it came on. I felt like I'd heard it before somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I mean, like Go came.
Oh, Go! I'd heard Go before.
Go was the
definitely.
big single they had from this one, and you know.
I say my major gripe with this album is the 3 songs: Just Bang, Reflection, and Taste of Honey.
Okay, so I see it. I really like Reflection, but I totally understand the other two.
Yeah. It's just like with Just Bang and Reflection, I feel like they don't really like go anywhere. They're very, especially Just Bang, very repetitive.
You know, I actually like Just Bang. I like the overall sound of Just Bang.
Yeah.
It's very repetitive. It works. So it kind of hypnotised me the first time I heard it, but I felt like it went on a bit too long.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's like 5+ minutes. If it was 2.5, 3 minutes long, then I would like it more.
Yeah,
that's the thing. If I feel like it doesn't deserve the length it's given. It should go somewhere, which is why I like EML Ritual.
Yes.
Because even though it's fairly repetitive, it actually like goes somewhere and progresses and then just explodes, and it's great.
I agree. I mean, all of Chemical Brothers' music is pretty repetitive, I'd say.
I mean, it's dance music.
Exactly.
Like, you need repetition.
I'd say like,
but it needs to go. So I do
to
agree.
have repetitiveness, but not on that level. Like,
and the way
EML Ritual repetitiveness, not Just Bang repetitiveness.
Yeah. But this repetitiveness
and
is
then
like
Taste of Honey.
Hype.
Taste of Honey. Obnoxious. Why the fuck is a bee in here?
Yeah.
Like, get this bee away.
I don't know why they did that.
This song is trash.
So
I've no problem saying that.
Yeah, there's a bee that just.
Although towards the end,
reason.
there's like hits of noise towards the end before they reprise the main idea from it to like finish the song off that actually sounds like some stuff from Arca's latest album.
Oh, right.
Which like I really didn't expect, but it kind of hit me like, oh yeah, I've heard that in Arca's latest album, which was released in the same year, so later on in the year, so I don't know if
Still don't
that's going to do anything. But hey, that's the thing.
And then my other problem, I don't think Wide Open should be the final track. I think Radiate should have been the final track.
I actually disagree with you. But state your case first.
I think it's just like it's very similar to the case I have with Neon Bible, where Radiate just sort of it builds up and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and it's very sort of orchestral and beautiful and all that, and you sort of you're into it, and then like you've sort of got this momentum, and then it just stops, and it feels like you feel like, yes, this is where it should end, and then like Wide Open is like dum 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 dum, and you're like, excuse me, why is there more music? That should be the end.
So I see what you mean.
I feel if they'd flipped those two round, I would have liked it.
I can see it.
Go ahead.
So I had the same thought. I had the same thought actually, because I felt like I had this feeling as well that Radiate feels like such a natural closer in the way that it is. It's sort of, builds like up to its central message of like you should just radiate your love, and the like music accompanies that, and it's like a dream state exactly. Yeah. It's like it's a good place to end it. But then I was actually thinking about it, and like I actually listened to the very obviously listened to the whole album. I listened to the very end of it, and it does. I feel like it would be a tiny bit unsatisfying. I don't know why, but I feel like if you ended on Radiate, it would feel like there's not something like it's a tiny bit unsatisfying because it seems a tiny bit disingenuous, weirdly. Because I feel like the whole Radiate message is kind of cliche because it's so simple.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of unsatisfying to just end on it, and then the Wide Open, I feel like is necessary because then it's like. It follows on saying, well, I'm now in this state, I've gotten over my troubles, but I just feel completely like I've got a bunch of holes in me, I'm wide open, I'm like an open wound, that sort of thing. I feel like it's necessary.
Yeah, fair point.
So listening to the album, I did have the same thought, like, Radiate would make a really good ender, but then I was like, I don't know, there's something doesn't feel right about it.
I know what I mean. Also, I felt like in the sort of, almost, not in the story, but like the timeline of the sort of things they're singing about, it feel weird to have Wide Open before Radiate.
Yeah, it would indeed. But
I do like Radiate a lot.
I love Radiate. I think it's
one of my
Wide Open.
I just love the like robot voice.
Yeah.
Along with
is that a Daft Punk fan in you?
No, it's more just like it's weird robotic voice, like along with like the sort of horns and the orchestral stuff.
Yeah.
It really works for me. I don't know.
I really like it. I find it like
Yes.
really like warm in a way. It's
Double
really good.
chubs me.
Yeah.
Double chubs you.
Double chubs.
That's a
Quadruple chubs.
big compliment.
Double
Sam.
chubs.
So I genuinely really love the end of this album, and I really love the start of this album.
Yeah.
And like,
It's just that middle.
so I think the
wavers a
problem
little bit.
is, they have to go between this start and this end. Like they've got the start is their
Is high.
modern, Chemical Brothers. The bangers. Here's the sort of the sound that we're putting forward for the big hype EDM.
Just
part
sort
of the album.
Party. They're party anthems.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like feel good
Yeah.
stuff. Like just super hype electric bolt shocks like into your brain. That's how I'm explaining it.
Yeah,
But then they have
it's
to
fine.
transition from that, and it's quite hard. And like it does, Just Bang is where it goes off the sort of rails.
Just Bang is where the really danceable part of the album
Yeah.
ends.
Exactly.
Because then you get Reflection.
I like Reflection. It is
Yeah, it's
super
okay.
repetitive, but I like it. I like the sounds. I don't know why. But then I don't like what's it called? Taste of Honey.
Who likes Taste of Honey?
Yeah, it sort of
Exactly.
wavers and then. But I'm happy that wasn't at the end. That was in. I'd rather have that in the middle.
I agree.
Where it's sort of really strong start, dips a little bit.
You're like,
or
whatever.
dips quite
And
a
then
lot on
come back
Taste
up
of
to the
Honey,
end.
and it comes right back
Yeah.
to the sort of more
I do.
emotional, heartfelt, and
Yeah.
then it's not massively emotional, but
Yeah.
it's
no
not
Spiderland.
new.
Indeed.
Definitely not.
So I do love coming back to this album and picking out certain tracks that I really enjoy. Like to name a few, the very first one, Sometimes It Feels So Deserted,
Good. I
Go.
really like the.
If I'm listening to those first couple, I usually do Under Neon Lights followed by EML Ritual. That's the first 4 tracks in a row, basically.
Yeah, they
It's
are. They are a good.
a really good run.
string.
They flow into each other quite nicely.
I like the sort of female vocals on Sometimes I Feel So Deserted.
Yeah.
It works quite well.
So do I. And I love the way it starts the album. It's really, I don't know, there's something really engaging about it. And then, I there's just so many tracks on here that are so exciting and enjoyable. I just get sucked in.
And they're all like very different. Like
Yeah.
when we were, I had it on in the kitchen and Nick was like listening to it. He liked it.
Yeah,
And
it
like
was.
when sort of he asked me what it was, I was like, it's this. And then he sort of 20 minutes later, when we were nearing the end of the album, he was like, what's this? And I was like, it's the same album.
Same album. Yeah.
And he's like, damn.
Oh, it's good.
It's like-
Ooh,
so
I
it
like
does-
the B sample.
It does, yeah. So,
And it pans. It's
unsurprisingly, skip those 3 tracks.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the correct thing to do.
But yeah, so it shows how much sort of variety there is in this
Yeah.
in this album, and that's what I really like. Is
Yeah.
like, and I think that's what I like most about Chemical Brothers quite a lot. It's like all of their songs sound like fairly different,
Yeah.
even though they've all got like
You
the
can
same
definitely tell
through
them.
line of
Yeah.
like, this is EDM sort of ravey druggy sort of music. There's always something different and new
Yeah.
to each album and, to be honest, each song.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing, like I was saying, that they've done so well on their latest 2 releases, because I just recently rediscovered the one before it called Further, is that they continue this sound and this varied sound and stuff, but they've come through with a pretty heartfelt message. They've basically grown up and they're using the same sound in such a really effective way I find for genuine messages beyond just sort of trying to trip out and get away from adult life responsibility or whatever, which is what they used to be about, and controlled riots and all this stuff. Yeah, whatever. I think we haven't actually addressed Julian's gripes so much.
Well, actually, I'd like to do a bit of a positive spin, because I've been fairly despondent towards a lot of stuff you've been talking about so far. But I want to talk about my favourite song on the album, which is Under Neon Lights.
Fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
St. Vincent does the vocals on it. She has got a very, very good kind of. It's kind of like a half whisper, slightly kind of gasp. I don't want to say gasping.
It's hard to explain.
It's hard to explain. She's got a really
It's
weird,
kind of
airy upper
intimate-ish,
register.
you
Yeah,
see,
that is kind of intimate, and I really, really
But in a
like those
club
vocals.
setting. Yeah.
And it works well with this sort of with the weird instrumentals you
Yeah.
get in Under Neon Lights, where it's sort of I don't know.
I mean, and what I especially like about the song is that the instrumental is decently fleshed out. I think it's very full, and I was constantly engaged by something. I wasn't thinking to myself, oh yeah, they're just spewing out and repeating what they've already done or anything. This song, it stands out to me. from the rest.
Fair.
I guess most of my other gripes have been addressed by you guys, talking about reflection, and taste of honey. Like, see, I like the kind of there's definitely some 90s like techno and house influence on it, which I quite liked at first.
So much, but it is repetitive.
But it is very repetitive. It goes on for too long.
It's a nice throwback though.
I have to say, sometimes I feel so deserted. I feel a little bit underwhelmed when the beat kicks in.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know it's whether I'm like counting the bars of the song in my head wrong as I listen to it, but like the bass drum, it always ends up being like halfway through each bar, and the whole song feels like it's like not quite in, like I'm not like into the rhythm of it for whatever reason.
Okay,
I don't know if I just need to listen to it more.
I don't know. Yeah.
But no, I liked it. I like the female vocals on it.
Yeah, and I like how sparse it is to start with, which suits obviously the song title, and it's a good album starter. I like that, and the way it, like you said, maybe the when it does come through with something that's real, sort of heavy, fast-paced EDM, it's maybe actually not the best, but I kind of agree with you. Yeah, it's maybe not the best. I can't remember it.
There you go.
But it's good because it just throws you into the album.
No, yeah, it definitely got me in the mood. I'll give it that. I'll
so,
definitely give it that.
I enjoy it.
I guess I want to say one last thing about EML Ritual. It's like halfway through the song when you've had all the vocal layering going on. It's done my head in a little bit. It then all drops out and you just get like the fall to the floor bass line just halfway through the song. Everything drops out and then you just get like, the bass drum hits. I thought to myself, well, what was all the vocal layering for? It's like it's almost like climaxed to just like nothing really.
I can see your point.
It's structured a bit weirdly.
For some reason, I really like it. I don't have like it doesn't do my head in the vocal layering.
No,
I feel like it's quite soft. Like this is a personal thing, personal preference, and I do know what you mean when it comes in at what feels like a slightly odd time, but in some way I don't know if it's because I've listened to so much Chemical Brothers and it's like.
You might just be used to it.
It feels like their tendency to do it at that time. I don't know. It feels natural for them.
It did feel natural. Like,
I felt it was.
It never like caught me off guard. I was just like feeling it.
I was feeling it.
I was feeling it.
I was feeling it. So to be honest, I feel most of this album. It's a really good modern spin on
their style.
on the Chemical Brothers style. I agree, and it's produced lots of good singles that became popular, and it holds up reasonably well as an album with a bit of a dip in the middle.
Yeah. I'm happy they're not like sort of getting too old. I'm happy that they're still producing good music.
I agree.
It's just good to hear good Chemical Brothers.
It is.
It's just good hype music.
And this is why I went on the massive nostalgia trip I was saying about, like, just watch video after video of theirs, watching all their... Because their music videos are really good. Yeah. They're usually really funny, and then they, like, try and sneak themselves in at the end.
How are those placement applications coming along, by the way, Mike?
Whatever. So, I don't care. I don't even care. I don't even want a placement.
Oh my god, Sam. Ruthless.
I'm allowed to watch...
Roasted! My friend, you just got roasted.
Well, now I just want to cry.
Don't worry.
Don't act like you don't always want to cry.
Yeah, true.
So
I hear you when.
But yeah, no. So I went on a massive nostalgia trip just for the whole time period that, for me, they encapsulate, and just super hype music. Just get into it so easy.
Good. So. Yeah, I could tell you guys really like this album overall.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might go and have a shower and listen to some of it.
And I was going to say, like, I can understand your gripes because this album is not, a complete album. They've updated their method of doing things so that they can continue to, produce the music that they do and make it appropriate and make it fitting and make it enjoyable.
Yeah, and make it not sound,
But
dated.
part of that process is they've made it mass appeal, and their sounds are sweet. They're not necessarily grating, and then sometimes I do admit there's parts that aren't super well produced in little areas.
No, actually, Reflection is horribly mixed. Come to think of it, there's like a really, really screeching synth line in the middle, which really pisses me off.
For some reason, I really like that synth line, and I could not tell you why. But I see what you mean. It's a valid point. that you have, but also I enjoy it. I don't know why. There's something energetic about it.
There you go.
And it's the.
I'll never
magical-
understand that. You'll never understand why I listen to noise.
True, exactly.
There you go.
Swings and roundabouts.
Swings roundabouts, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so yeah, good.
Wholeheartedly recommend most of the Chemical Brothers discography.
Yeah.
Including this one.
Give it a listen, guys.
Give it a listen. It's a good one.
Boring in the
It's
echoes.
easy to enjoy, unless you're Julian.
I enjoyed some of it.
I'm kidding.
Kidding.
I'm kidding.
Right, so what's happening next time?
So, we are going to be talking about the first half
Yes.
of the Powers That Be.
Yes.
Death Grips.
Friendos on the moon.
Yep. Friendos on
Those
the moon.
gosh darn friendos. What
Yep.
are they doing?
Spending time up there on that flipping
That
celestial body.
Orbiting Earth.
That heckin' rock in the sky.
Yeah.
And we're also going to be talking about
Demon Days by the Gorillaz.
Yes.
Oh, blimey. I'm looking forward to this one. I am looking forward to this one.
Yep. Demon
Do
Days.
love me some
It's
Gorillaz.
another album that's very easy to like, just like Born in the Echoes and That's Your Julian. So
So,
we'll see you then.
yeah. It'll be
Yeah.
a pleasant week of listening.
I agree.
What are you suggesting this week was painful or something?
Not painful, but it was a bit tiring.
Yeah.
Well, you're always tired at this time, though.
Yeah.
So.
True.
No, I mean, like, throughout. I was quite... It's, you know, like, Spiderland just tires you out. It's such
It does.
It's a fantastic album, don't get me wrong, but it is, like...
You
tough.
finish it, you take your headphones off, your earphones out at the end, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I made it!
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Alright.
Well,
Bye.
we'll see you next week for all of the things we mentioned. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, Daddy. Bye bye. See you then.
Ciao.